So back a long time ago, say 1989, so that was a while back, I became your Associate Regional Minister of Oregon for those who are in Oregon, when we were a different region. And because I had been involved at the Rose, as I mentioned, I was very excited about people knowing about that. And there was a women's cabinet at that time in Oregon, and they decided they would like to do something for the Rose. So, as is my custom, I called the Rose and said, what could my council do for you? And they said, well, what we really need is we're having to go to the laundromat. So could you buy us a washing machine? It doesn't even have to be new, but can you buy us a washing machine? Because the one we have is broken and we have to go to the laundromat. So I talked to the council, and somebody knew somebody who had an appliance store, and we raised money that we thought would be enough for a washing machine, and he threw in the dryer. So we were able to give to the Rose a washing machine and a dryer because we had asked what was most needed. Fast forward to another time when we asked people what they needed as women in these regional churches and these women's events. For many years, we have had in Oregon and in Idaho women's events, fall and summer retreats. In the Oregon region, one of the traditions that grew up, because we were having retreats in the Murray Hills Christian Church building, which is kind of retreat-like a building. It's got trees around and big open space. So one of the traditions that grew up was the people setting up the retreat would go in early and they would take masking tape and they would draw one of those prayer labyrinth walks out of masking tape on the floor, big enough that they could have a pretty good sized walkthrough. And it was be one where you can go in one space and come out another and not run into each other in the labyrinth. And then when people would bring canned food, because Murray Hills doesn't charge us to use the building, then we would contribute canned food for the food program that's in the basement called Casey's Corner. So this went on several years where people would put food on the labyrinth and then they would walk through the labyrinth off and on during the retreat, remembering the people at Casey's Corner out of gratitude for their ministry, remembering people who were food insecure who would receive the food, and being mindful of privilege and of want and of the connection of all people. So this prayer practice went on 2, 3, 4 years, canned food labyrinth. It became normative. And then I called Martha Cook the next year after we'd been doing this a while. And I asked Martha Cook, who worked in the program in the basement, so is there a special kind of food that you run out of a lot? And she said, well, we got a lot of food, but what we don't get donated very often, and it's hard to get, is laundry soap and feminine hygiene products. So I put the word out that if you want to bring something to the retreat, let's bring detergent. You can bring food, but let's also bring detergent and let's bring feminine products. So we set up for the retreat, and I don't live far from the church, so I went home to change clothes so I would look more presentable for the retreat. And when I came back, there was this entire labyrinth built out of laundry detergent and feminine hygiene products. It was very odd looking, and I was looking at it and I thought, well, I don't want to tell somebody they shouldn't have done that, but it's kind of strange. And then into the building came some of the women from Trees of Righteousness, led in by Pastor Malele Hobbs, who had chosen the disciples and was a pastor among us. And she looked at me and she said, this new church of mine's got some strange prayer practices, she said. So again, we had responded to what we had been asked. So today I am bringing with you something that I have for us to consider. And that is, Stacy, if you'll put me back as my face. I want my face to be showing when I make this talk. And then after that, you can put up the other slide. Today we will receive an offering, and we will receive it through February 15th. This offering will be matched. Remember Micah saying, get a matching fund. For every dollar that you participate in this offering, $3 more will be given, which means if this offering is $1,000, we will have $4,000. In many, many of our gatherings like this, the offering approaches or passes $1,000. So I know that that kind of generosity may be among us or not, but if it is, for every dollar that you do give, their 3 will be added up to $3,000. So a $1,000 offering will get us $4,000. And that $4,000 that I dream about and think about, that money will be a grant fund, and your congregations will be able to apply for money from that grant fund. If you call the local women's shelter by you and you ask them, what do they need? And that requires some funds for you to do that. There will be, as of March 1st, a grant fund available to you with a one-page easy application form that says how much money do you need, where is it going, and a paragraph about what it will be used for, and a story about how you asked and how you had that experience. And that money will come to you as soon as we receive the applications until the money's gone. And the money will be gone by June 30th of this year. It's not going to hang around for the auditor to look at it. We had some money once where it just kept going year to year. We didn't spend it and it just kept going. This money will be gone by June 30th. June 30th. That date rings a bell. Huh. That's when I leave. So before I leave, we will spend all this money. Okay? Okay, so Stacy's going to put up a screen that shows you how you can give to the offering either online. And if you give online, you have an opportunity to pay for the cost of that online gift, but it's not necessary, but you can if you want. Or you can send a check to our post office box, which gets checked several times a week. And we will leave the offering open until February 15th. Now, if you say to me, I don't know where there's a domestic shelter near me, do not worry. Our beloved Renee Windsor-White has looked on the internet and has made phone calls, and she knows where all the shelters are that are near all of our congregations, and she's made a chart. So we will also send you the chart. So you can't tell me you don't know if there is one near you, because there is, and we know where it is, and we'll tell you where it is. So I hope that you will be generous with this fund. And also, if you have people you think would like to give to this fund that are not here today, if you will tell them about it, we will receive it and distribute it. And you will be doing good work with people that we remember. Thank you for your generosity.
I also put the link in the chat so you can follow it directly from there if you'd like to give online.
And I can vouch for the fact that the link that is on your the same page that you got your Zoom code, that link also works because I checked it out this morning.
We'll give you a couple minutes to think about this, and then we will move into a time of closing meditation and thank yous. Stacy, will you go ahead and put up the poem in a minute? So it has been a great joy to be with you today. And I am mindful of just the stories of the women that I know in this circle, and some of those who don't know me as well. I don't know your stories as well, but as I look in this list of names, I see some powerful, powerful women. In fact, every name is powerful. And so today I want to thank you because you are my people. You definitely are my people. And one of my favorite poems is by Marge Piercy. It's To Be of Use. And today I think that I want you to hear these words of encouragement from Marge Piercy as we end. And then after the poem, I will close us in prayer. And after the prayer, the room will stay open for those of you who want to stay and chat with each other. But otherwise, after the prayer, we are going on to the next adventures of our day. So hear these words of poetry. The people I love best jump into work head first without dallying in the shallows and swim off with sure strokes almost out of sight. They seem to become natives of the element, the black sleek heads of seals bouncing like half submerged balls. I love people who harness themselves like onto an ox, like an ox onto a heavy cart, who pull like water buffalo with massive patience, who strain in the mud and the muck to move things forward, who do what has to be done again and again. I want to be with people who submerge in the task, who go into the fields to harvest and work in a row and pass the bags along, who are not parlor generals or field deserters, but move in a common rhythm when food must come in or the fire be put out. The work of the world is common as mud. Botched, it smears the hands, crumbles to dust, but the thing worth doing well done has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident. Greek amphoras for wine or oil, Hopi vases that held corn are put in museums, but you know they were made to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry, and a person for work that is real. Please pray with me. Gracious and holy God, we thank you for the couple of hours we've had together. The stories that we shared were hard ones. This was not a fluffy time of feel good. And yet, I feel good because I have been with my sisters and we have been with one another, and we are telling truth to each other, a truth that we can hang on to, that we can pull forward, where we may get muddy in the work, but it is real work. It is our work. And we do this work in the memory and in the awareness of the women in our church that have come before us, who have done hard things, who have built hospitals in Africa, who have built orphanages, who have sent teachers all around the world. The women of the Christian Women's Board of Missions, that when they were not allowed to be on the boards with the men in the mission societies, formed their own and did the work anyway. We stand in the shadow of those who came before us, who urge us on. Look around you. I hear them saying, look around you and see what you can do together. See, remember, act. We say remember every week when we gather. Loving God, we say we remember, and then we take and we eat and we remember again. So in this time together, we would ask that you embolden our memories, that you open our eyes, that you gather us and send us out, and gather us and send us out as the heartbeat of the body of Christ, reaching into the world so that the world may know you love them, you love us,